You're tuned into Visions, a business and community affairs program designed to encourage and promote entrepreneurship in Central Alabama.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Vision. Cedric Vonner. We're excited about our guest and our friend being back with us today, Mr. Willie Durham of Willie Durham State Farm Insurance. Mr. Durham, thanks for being here with us again on the program.
Mr. Varner, thanks for having me again.
Excellent. Well, we enjoyed our talk last time. We enjoyed it so much that you're going to come back so we can talk some more.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, one of the things that we left off talking about last time was disaster preparedness, and so we wanted to kind of pick up on that. We've had actually much going on in the news as it relates to disaster preparedness, as far as the Hurricane Florence in the Carolinas. And so what would you say in light of this information and what has happened in the news? I
mean, how timely to have this conversation, because as you mentioned before I was on, I briefly talked about disaster preparedness, and lo and behold, here comes Hurricane Florence. What I would say to your audience is that the time to prepare for a storm is before the storm. Many people are realizing that it's not the damage from the wind that causes most of the damage, it's the rising water and the flood. And the citizens of North Carolina and South Carolina are dealing with flood at just records that they've never seen before. And the same thing could happen here in Montgomery. You don't have to be next to the coast to have excessive water damage. If the storm comes inland, and we're only 2.5 to 3 hours from the coast, and if the storm hovers over Montgomery and a large amounts of rain come down in a short period of time or over several days, we could see some of the same things happen here. So I encourage your audience to really consider looking into flood insurance. Flood insurance is very affordable. It's something that I think most of your audience are not aware that their homeowner's policy provides no protection against a flood. And we realize that if you're not in a flood area, it's really very, very, very affordable.
Now, you can actually buy a home and get a place to live or dwell in a non-flood area, which does not requar you to have flood
That's right.
insurance. And so what you're saying to our viewers is
Yes.
to what?
Big Mama said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Get the
So I would get the flood insurance. If you are in a preferred area, it's as little as $350 to $400 a year in a non-flood area. Now, if you're in a flood area, the mortgage company is going to mandate or require you to have it. It's those citizens that are in non-flood areas. And according to FEMA, 25% of all floods are in non-flood areas, 1 in 4. So again, if we had a hurricane that come in from Pensacola, Panama City area, and it comes inland and hovers over Montgomery for a day or two, we could see the same damages here in Montgomery. The Alabama River could flood. Or our sewage systems are not designed to handle that amount of water in that period of time, and the water could back up. So I would encourage your audience, just call and get a quote, and you'll be surprised on how affordable flood insurance is.
And so when they call to get a quote,
Yes.
so what would be the number that they need to call?
272-9100 or visit the website, williedurham.com.
Excellent, excellent. Well, now, we're not as much in the hurricane region, I believe, as we are in the tornado region.
Well, both of them are just,
right?
Yeah. Some people say that this is Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had several tornadoes. And that's another good point, Mr. Varner, is a lot of insurance companies are starting to see 2 deductibles when it comes to your homeowner's policy. You may have 1 deductible if there were a fire or a theft or lightning, and you may have a separate deductible if there's damage from a wind from a hurricane or wind from a tornado. So you want to make sure you check your policy and make sure that you know what your deductible is. I've seen them as high as 5%. If you have a $300,000 home and you have a 5% deductible, well, 5% of $300,000, that's $15,000 would be your responsibility. That's a lot.
That is.
So you're going to buy your own roof. So people need to understand that the deductibles could impact how much you have to pay out of your pocket.
Okay.
So I encourage people, if they're not sure, because a lot of times when you buy a home, a mortgage friend or a realtor may say, I know somebody, and it's in with your house payments. Some people don't even know who the insurance carrier is because somebody else set it up for them.
Okay, okay. Well, as we're talking about this theme of disaster preparedness, when we talk about tornadoes and coverage on our home and our property, what is the situation with water damage that comes as a result of the tornado?
Well, if a tornado rips your roof off your home and water comes in, that will be covered.
Yeah.
But if it's water from the ground, what we call rising water, that's not covered. Any rising water entering your home is not covered. So again, you want to sit down with an insurance professional, know exactly how your policy would perform. You know, I talked about the 3 Ps last time I was here: price, performance, and protection. And a lot of times when you shop on price, when it's time to find out how your policy is going to perform, you'll be disappointed.
So you really need to take the time to talk to the insurance professional to find all of the features and the benefits.
Absolutely.
Of your policy.
And I couldn't think of a better person other than Willie Durham.
I can't think of a, I can't. No, nor can I.
Right, sir.
That's why you're here today. Well, when we're staying on this theme of disaster preparedness, a lot of things have been going on. You know, just a month ago, I think we had fires in California.
That's true.
And you know, people are still recovering from Hurricane Harvey in Houston.
In Houston. And another thing, you know, I've been watching the footage and it's been devastating to families. But there's some things you can do before the storm, like get a list of your medicines and have that stuff handy. Have your policy or something on your phone or an app somewhere. Knowing exactly an inventory if things are all destroyed. Insurance companies are going to ask you some tough questions when there's a loss. So I like to say that insurance is there to take care of the devastation, but we don't have anything to deal with the frustration. Sometimes it's frustrating going through the process because we want to make sure that we're paying everything we owe, but not a penny more. So the adjuster is going to ask some questions that sometimes is frustrating, is aggravating, but if you're prepared beforehand, you're able to deal with those questions. They're not going to open the company's insurance policy and just write out a check to the maximum amount. They're going to make sure that you have to justify that we are paying everything we owe. So the more you're prepared beforehand, the less frustrating and aggravating it can be.
So when we talk about this theme of disaster preparedness and documenting your assets.
That's exactly true. I tell clients, get your phone, take pictures of everything, put it in the cloud. State Farm has a great inventory form on the webpage. So you can do as much as you can because a lot of times, I mean, you're devastated. You've lost everything potentially that you've owned. And sometimes, you know, close your eyes and see what's in the bedroom, see what's in the living room, see what's in the kitchen. You have to write this stuff down. When did you buy it? What was the make? What's the brand? What's the potential cost? Sometimes you just, you know, it's frustrating. But these are things you have to go through the document. So the more you do beforehand, the more aggravation that you can save yourself and your family.
Now, you mentioned, you know, we talk about documenting and we talk about medicines. Now, you know, many of us, we've got health issues, we've got things that's going on, and the other part of the crisis that comes with a disaster is the health issues of our family and trying to get people taken care of who are on medication.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And again, the more things you do beforehand, again, because, you know, a town like what's going on in South Carolina, the pharmacies are hit as well. The businesses are flooded. And a lot of the time, power is down for weeks at a time. So the more you can have in your phone or document it somewhere, the next nearby town that you had to evacuate to, maybe you can go to a local pharmacist, but the more stuff you can have beforehand, it helps you and your family.
All right, so let's talk about this phone. You just reminded me of something. Now, you know, some of our parents are not into technology.
That's true.
And they're really not into smartphone.
Yeah, my dad has a flip phone.
My mother's, you know, she's getting there.
Yes, sir.
So what would you say for our parents who are seniors who really are not into technology as far as documenting the assets and the medicines, and how should they do that?
Then you're going to have a good son like you, sir, to be able to help mom
or
out.
You, sir.
Or a good son to be able to say, Mom,
right.
You know, you need to list down all your documents for your medicine, which you take. And sometimes, you know, we have to be a little bit pushy because parents sometimes say, baby, I got this, but we know that when there's a crisis, you're gonna have to step in. So if you can help them prepare beforehand, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
So just to document everything, again, because the other thing, when these storms form, the company has what we call binding restrictions. So we can't even write new business. So if you're thinking about buying a car or getting, hey, I see the storm out there, I'm gonna get me some renter's insurance now because I may lose everything. Well, the company has a restriction. When there's a storm already named and we know there's a certainty of loss, you can't get insurance. So don't wait until the storm, get it beforehand.
All right, so when we talk about getting insurance, we got a photo that you supplied with us of your building. We want to show people so they have no mistake about where they need to go to see you. We got this photo of you. We got, you know, of course, we know you retired Marine and everything. Got your car out there.
Yes, sir.
And so people can call you. We got your graphic right there. That is you, right?
That's me.
That's
yes,
what
sir.
okay. And then we got one more photo of your office, and so people can see you there to talk about this subject, which is Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Yes, sir. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. I encourage all your viewers, just call and get a quote for life insurance. Life insurance is affordable. Most millennials think that it costs more than it actually costs. Most people that have life insurance only have it at their place of employment. I encourage everyone, just call and get a quote. You'll be surprised how affordable it is. So 272-9100 or williedurham.com. The best type of a life insurance to have is the policy that's in place when you die. Whether it's term life insurance, whether it's whole life insurance, you ought to have your own life insurance.
And life insurance is important for covering your burial needs, but it's also a legacy preserving product.
Absolutely.
For the future.
It's one of the few ways that you can immediately generate wealth for a family.
Good.
Yeah. Good. So if you die prematurely and your family has to pay a mortgage, you want kids to attend college, you want them to maintain the same level of lifestyle, life insurance is one of the few products that can do that for you.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Durham, we want to say thanks for coming to be with us on the program. Always enjoy it.
Thank you.
We're going to invite you back so you can come back again.
I'd love to be back on the Visions with Cedric Varner.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for coming. And that's going to do it for us on this segment of Vision with Willie Durham State Farm Insurance. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.